Good morning to those people that are still in the one time zone that it is morning in, the Pacific Coast of America. It is Fiery Rage here, Lazer Grand Arena 2026, round of 32 matchup. On paper, I think one of the closest matchups that we have remaining. Zylice versus BoshyMan. Both these players are well known in the tournament community. Zylice, of course, multiple OWC captain for Canada, and BoshyMan, multiple OWC player for the United States. Both their weaknesses and strengths are well documented, and I think they're, outside of the hidden skill set, pretty much polar opposites of each other, if I'm going to be quite honest. I'm Fiery Rage, once again, joined by The Marsh. How's it going, man?
Hey, Fiery. Yeah, it's going well. The fact that this is a first round matchup is nuts. The fact we're going to lose one of these players after this matchup concludes is just ridiculous. Like, these guys are so good at the game, and I'm looking forward to this one. There's so much to talk about between these two players.
Yeah, as we were mentioning, these players have well-documented skill sets. They're both very familiar with one another, both from playing in other tournaments as well as the round table. Both of these players were at the round table earlier this year, so they're pretty familiar with each other, to say the least. And I think that's going to lend itself to a pretty quick pick and ban phase, as both these players kind of know what to expect and what they want to avoid and what they want to pick into. I think with this format that we have here, it's going to be a bit interesting, as for those unaware, we have a 2-ban phase, 1 ban first, and then into a protect, which means you cannot ban that upcoming map at all, and then the 2nd ban phase after that, and then followed by a maximum of 5 sets. Both players will have 1 pick per set, and the score difference between the 2 maps is what determines the winner of those sets. First to 3 sets wins the match. And we're already well underway with the ban phase and protect phase, so we got a DT1 ban, obviously not really surprising, from BoshyMan, and Zylice, no mod 2. Probably the most expected bans I think I have ever seen in my life.
I think we pretty much called those bans right before we started. We were like, okay, what are they likely to ban? It's like, well, microwave, gone, right? And it's going to be a DT ban from Boshy for sure against Zylice, and that is pretty much it. You know, a bit more surprised it's not necessarily the DT2, which is probably what I would have gone for, but other than that, it's pretty much aligned with what you can expect from these two. And
Wait, I like this. Okay. A protect on DT2 from BoshyMan.
Alright.
That was probably the last thing I was expecting. I am very interested to see how that plays out. Actually, I know why he did that. I know why he did that.
Because
that means he can't pick it. I know why he did that.
Yeah, that's 100% big brain. He's gonna.
And they did the same thing. Oh my god.
Oh my god, these guys are in each other's heads. Oh my god, this is mega IQ right now. So yeah.
The problem with that strategy, though, is if this goes the distance, those maps are going to need to be played. So
no, but that's the beauty of it. They can pick them whenever they like. So if it's in a set that's not going to their advantage, they can just pick that map, and it's 2 birds with 1 stone, right? They just eliminate that difficulty. It's a brilliant strategy, and then they just go back to banning exactly what you'd expect them to.
And I think the no mod 5 ban, obviously, from Boshy, I think laser mod probably from Zylice here would make the most sense. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised to see maybe a hidden ban, but both these players are pretty confident on hidden. I think laser mod is just something that Zylice does not want to deal with. He could also opt to go for a hard rock ban if he's not super confident in that, I suppose, but yeah, no, there's a laser mod ban.
Yeah, laser mod, not very popular this week at all. So yeah, not really surprised to see it gone again here. Nobody likes depth, I don't understand.
I wonder why. Really makes you think.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. So that's the ban phase concluded. So Zylice being the higher seed in this situation, everything's predetermined. So the ban phase started with Boshy being the lower seed, and now Zylice will start off the first set by picking into into the first set first, and then obviously Boshy will have their map pick to try and offset the score difference. It's all about score difference. Whoever has the highest score difference at the end of the first set takes it, and it's best of 5 sets. It's as simple as that.
And with the pick and ban phase going as it was, it actually gets a bit interesting, since both the players' strengths, Boshy on the reading precision and Zylice on the speed, are essentially just gone. Both the players can't pick those strengths. There's only hidden one really as a speed map, and even then it's just aim. So both these players are kind of on even footing, I think, at this point. Both these players are pretty well versed in every other skill set outside of those specialties that they each have. So this gets really interesting. I'm very interested to see how this goes for both these players. It should be, on paper, I think, pretty close, especially with the Lazer's scoring system being a lot more generous than the Score v2 that these players are traditionally used to seeing.
Absolutely, and we fire straight into this one. Fast aim is the name of the game for this one. 230 BPM. Just intense aim patterns. Doesn't really let up either. It kind of just hits you all at once and then just keeps going. So, you know, you will start to feel the consistency strain, especially as we get towards the end of the map. But a clear, decisive start for Zylice there, with Boshy struggling a little bit, adjusting onto the accuracy, and has looked like he dropped a bit of combo as well. So
I think one of the first bursts, I think, caught him off guard, which is kind of expected. So even with that considered, though, only a 30k point difference, it's not gonna be the end of the world for him at the moment.
But other than that, it's all about that first major combo break. Offsetting as little score as you can from your opponent's pick. You know, Boshy's looking for damage control here more than anything else. Keep the accuracy high. If you can get some combo to go along with it, that's even better. And Zylice comes with a miss.
I think the reason Zylice picked this is because he's confident on the burst, and a lot of this map is reliant on 230 BPM burst, which is why he feels more confident picking into this than Boshy does, which is pretty evident from the accuracy alone. Boshy also trades that miss, so not going to matter too much, but at the moment, 50k score lead in favor of Zylice will grow slightly with this accuracy lead that he's been building up throughout the course of the map.
And that accuracy increase just comes very linear format, so his score's just going to keep going up as long as Boshy keeps dropping hundreds and can't get the accuracy up. But the combo is a different story. You can really offset that score, but another miss coming in from Boshy, not going to help at all.
He's not looking too confident on the aim. I think Zylice might pick up on that and start to pick more into the aim aspects. There goes the stream section right there. Boshy misses on that. Zylice, of course, not really having any issues with it whatsoever. Barely confident first pick for Zylice, as the score lead is going to shift over to about 100k now.
Yeah, and as well, remember, Boshy got to make up that difference to try and win the set on his pick, so if it gets too far out of hand, you might see those interesting strategies that we discussed earlier. But right now, Zylice putting on a bit of a clinic here, and Boshy's still coming up with misses here and there and all over the place.
I think once it starts reaching the 200k mark is when you're probably going to consider going for that pick, and I think Boshy's probably going through that right now, as he finds a lot of misses during that stamina-intensive speed burst section. I think we're probably going to be seeing a DT2 pick here early on, as 200k might not seem like a lot in terms of a score difference if this was Score v2 normally. It would just be like, you know, you just have to feel pretty confident in your next pick, but it's very hard to get that score difference on a map in this pool if you're not essentially FCing the map and the other opponent is struggling really hard. As you can see, Zylice had several misses in this map, and even then he still has almost 200k off the max score from that.
Yeah.
So I think this is where Boshy will probably decide to pick into that DT2 here.
The difference between Lazer scoring and Score v2 from the standard client is just so majorly different that, like you said, accuracy plays such a vital role. So everyone tends to stick to comfort maps. But there you go. You see at the top there, 238k is what BoshyMan needs to push back to take this set. And I think we're both in agreement here that I'm expecting the Protect to come out from Boshy. Or perhaps maybe another speed map that he doesn't want to play either. That is also an option.
I mean, the thing is, I don't think there's another speed map really in the pool. I guess if you're not super confident in 205 BPM burst, maybe Nomad 1, but it's going to be Nomad 4 instead, which kind of surprises me. But at the same time, I think this is also a pick that has the potential of being lopsided. This is the easiest in terms of star rating, at the very least, in the pool, at a 6.2, 6.3 stars. This is slider aim. There's no real getting around that. This is just slider aim.
No, there isn't really much else to kind of talk about. Once you've seen the first 15 seconds of the map, you've seen the whole thing, in a matter of speaking. But it is a very short map, so, you know, combo-wise, this miss is vital if your opponent's going to start running away with it, and that is a early miss from BoshyMan. Not going to matter too much in the long run. Going to miss anywhere. It's a good place to start.
I was going to say,
see the rest.
It potentially might matter, as this is a relatively short map, but there's a lot of potential for trades on this. This is a very technical map, so I think accuracy is going to matter quite a bit more on this than anything else, to be honest. And right now, Zylice is winning that battle.
Haven't seen anyone put up an FC on this map in a match this weekend yet, though, so that's not good.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's potentially why Boshy might have want to pick it, to be honest. Maybe he wasn't feeling too confident on this map either, and just wanted to get it out of the way.
But a miss coming in from Zylice, going to offset that a little bit, but Boshy's AC is not where you'd want it to be.
The issue stems from the fact that he has a 238k point difference to make up, and I think at this point, already, I think that's too much to really surmount. Zylice is going to be dropping misses, but I think his score is probably going to be capped within the realm of 700k at this rate, and that's not going to be enough for Boshy to really capitalize on, even if he wins this point.
Absolutely not, so I think, alright, he's looking forward to the future, towards that second set. And kind of sacrificing this one to the Wolves. But for Zylice, it is the start you want. As the higher seed takes that first set, no issues at all. That nearly 300k is huge.
Yeah, I think that was a potential throwaway pick from Boshy, just not feeling super confident on that. Now we're going to be getting into a brand new set, though. Boshy has the first pick here, and I imagine gonna want to start things off with a pick that you're feeling pretty confident on. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised to see, honestly, any of the remaining maps outside of DT2. I feel like Boshy has a decent chance on a lot of these, as the remaining hidden maps are all tech-oriented. And the Hard Rock pool is pretty much just an aim map and a tech map. DT3 is not speed, it is an alt-oriented map, which I think also would help Boshy quite a bit.
It's still throwing me for a loop that I see Hard Rock 2 protected by Zylice and DT2 protected by Boshy. I've got to get the idea of them being the other player out of my mind. Because it's like, they just look like regular protects to me, but they actually belong to the other player, which means, you know, they cannot be picked by the player who would like to play them. And no more 3.
I mean, this is kind of in the same vein as the DT3 that I was discussing that Boshy could potentially pick into. This is also an alt map, so this is something, a bit more of a toss-up pick, but I think at this point, all these picks, really, outside of the protects, are going to be toss-up picks. Maybe Nomad 1 will favor Zylice, as he saw on the hidden one, but I think at this point, it's just pretty much anyone's game. Just comes down to execution at this point. We'll see how it stems from this first map here.
It's down to player raw skill as we kick off the second set. BoshyMan's pick in said set. And it's another relatively short map. But like I said, snappy patterns. A lot of tapping mixed in as well. And accuracy-wise, still very good for Zylice early on. Very close, even though. Who's going to trip up first?
This map is going to definitely come down more to the combo aspect than the accuracy aspect. This is a fairly accessible map for both of these players in terms of the accuracy, so you're not going to be seeing too much of an issue with that. You're probably going to be seeing high 98s, 99s throughout the vast majority of this map, and right now, in terms of the combo aspect at least, both these players just having absolutely no problem whatsoever. Zylice in the very small lead with the accuracy advantage that he has.
Combos both intact still. He's huge at the halfway point. Might come down to a single miss here, if there's one at all. It's the time. It's still neck and neck.
Oh, that's an unfortunate over-aim from BoshyMan on the start of this section. That immediately shifts the score lead over to Zylice with almost 50k points of difference immediately just from those misses alone. Still holding on to the FC, I believe 3x 100 from him on this, maybe make that 4x 100 on that slider end, I believe. And he's just gonna run away with this at this point.
I mean, he really is. I mean, he is not stopping. What is that, Zylice? That is insane.
Yeah, I mean, looking to FC the map at this point and give himself a pretty decent advantage going into his pick. Whether or not he can close out.
Yeah, 15 seconds left. Just got to hit the ending here. Can be a little tricky, but looking to bring it home. Last 5 seconds, final pattern of the map. Does he pull it home? Zylice, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, not really much you can do when you're Boshy there. That is an absolutely insane score from Zylice. Just unfortunate, I think, misread into just general pattern miss on the side of BoshyMan there. And that's going to give him a 200k score deficit that he has to overcome now. Which I think Zylice will feel pretty confident in really just picking anything at this point. Even if he's not necessarily going to beat Boshy's score on it, he has a very comfortable margin to work with here.
Yeah, he might even try that DC3 just to kind of get it out there. Take away from Boshy, make him pick into something else.
So it's a bit more of a comfort pick for him. Hidden 2. This is the flow aim tech pick of the pool. On the hidden pool, rather. I've seen this picked a lot over the course of this weekend so far. Very popular pick. Both these players are more than capable of hidden flow aim. This is a BPM that's also pretty accessible, if I'm remembering correctly. I think it's 180-ish, around that.
Yeah, it's just a very long map. Really, I mean, it's what, just under 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes?
Yeah, one of the longer maps in the pool, so consistency definitely matters quite a bit on this one in particular. Which does mean there is potential to get this 200k score gap back if you're Boshy, if Zylice has a pretty massive blunder here, but you're going to need to FC the map at that point, I think. So as soon as Boshy doesn't FC the map, I think it might just be over, honestly. We'll find out, though. We'll see what happens. Oh. Well, that's an early miss. That's not going to help.
Although it was a very, like, literally on the first pattern of the map, Zylice did find a miss, but much better recovery here. But Boshy going to hold him at bay with the accuracy alone. Zylice still tries to bring it back up, but the combo outweighing it now. And, as it stands, this is Zylice's point to lose. Boshy must be 200k above at the end of the second set. That is a far off fever dream at this point. Zylice has sailed right into the map, and as the words come out of my mouth, there goes Zylice's combo. Goodbye. I think it's a Boshy now. He's got a decent combo on his own.
The issue is Boshy missed on that early repeat, which is hampering the score lead just a tad bit, but still has the potential of making up the score deficit. He just needs... The main issue is that he needs to hold his combo throughout the remainder of the 3 minutes that are still in the map, and the ending of this map gets pretty balls to the walls hard, unfortunately, so... He's gonna need to pull out some miracle gaming at the tail end here.
Well, if he can, that would be a major flip of the score. Take the wind out of Zylice's sails just a little bit. As very much Boshy not really managing to make too much of a dent into the match so far. But Zylice is right on his heels with a 700 combo of his own, and the miss comes in from Boshy.
I think that honestly might just seal it. I genuinely think Boshy needed to FC the map in order to have a chance of overcoming that 200k deficit. Could be wrong though if Zylice finds a miss pretty early on here. If he gets to like a 1k combo, I think it's kind of just over though.
Worse as well, as Zylice's accuracy has recovered massively in the early stages, whereas Boshy began to fall behind in that department, and that stings more and more as time goes on. Still a minute 45 left to go. Not a lot of time for Boshy here at this stage. He needs to hold everything now and hope Zylice just destroys his own accuracy, which is a tall order this late into the map.
And Boshy with another miss is just not going to be helping things at all. I think we've crossed the threshold of the potential of winning this set is now gone for Boshy. I think even if he FC'd this map at this point, it wouldn't be enough. Zylice still holding on to the FC from that earlier miss, and as soon as he crosses over the territory of 800k, this map was just not winnable no matter what Boshy tried doing. Or this set, rather. Finally going to be finding a miss at the end of this section here, but I think even with that, he's still secured in 800k, and there's not really anything you can do, honestly.
No, there will be no response from Boshy on this one. As we count down towards this ending, it is going to be Zylice going up. 2 sets to start us out. I mean, he is grand finalist from last year. It's what you expect from someone of that caliber to repeat that performance, but still chance though for Boshy in that 3rd set to maybe pull out a miracle. But it ain't gonna happen here. Not this time. Zylice 2, Boshy still yet to score in the set department.
And this is where I think that protect phase from earlier kind of bites Boshy in the butt, since at this point, you 100% have to pick that now. No matter what happens. If you get to set 5, you're guaranteed you're going to have to pick that at some point. And that's a map that you are not confident in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, set number 3, it will be Zylice to pick first. Now, what are the chances of Zylice chucking out that protect? Thoughts?
I don't think so. I think, yeah, Nomad 1, I think, would probably be the obvious pick at this point. Based on just how that hidden 1 went and how he did on the consistency hidden 2. This is both of those combined. Just instead of hidden, it is now Nomad. This is a remix of Burn This Moment Into the Retina of My Eye alongside a different song that I cannot name off the top of my head, but if you're familiar with that latter song, OWC 2016 Finals Tiebreaker, Breakcore, lots of bursts, lots of stamina-intensive sections, lots of aim. This map has a difficulty spike at the end, but for the most part, it remains pretty consistently difficult with a couple, like 1 or 2 slow sections in between. Basically what you'd expect from a typical gore shit song, as this is much more in line with what you'd expect from that.
Again, the ultimate test of consistency, 5.5 minutes. We've seen some pretty crazy plays on this already, but we've really got into the aim section already. Boshy finding that first miss.
I think he let go of one of the 1A 3-peat sliders too early, which is why he missed on that.
Lazer will punish you for trying that sort of thing in the arena. There's that first, almost intestinal-looking slider there.
It does kind of look like a small intestine, doesn't it?
I don't really know how else to describe it apart from that.
It has that sort of vibe. So we get into the first hard section here. Well, quote-unquote hard section. This is where the song picks up. It's not necessarily one of the hard parts yet, but it's definitely a bit of a step up in difficulty, at least compared to what you just saw.
That is a huge miss from Boshy there. That stings so much more than the first one. And the door now wide open for Zylice to really do some damage.
Yeah, just struggling on the beginning here is Boshy, and that doesn't really bode well for the rest of the map, as this is a, like we said, pretty consistently difficult map if you're struggling on the early stages here. You can still get your groove back, I suppose, but it's definitely a lot more of an uphill climb. We enter the next slower section here.
For Zylice, you know, a major score here. Like you said, if it hits 200k, you could almost call the match before we even get into Boshy's pick. And we're starting to enter that realm on our way to 100k with another miss coming in from Boshy to find. And Zylice has not put a foot wrong. As it stands. 500 PV play as well. As it stands as well.
Yeah, this is just, this is quickly going out of hand. And not really much you can do with your Boshy, since Zylice is still holding on to a very high AC FC, so even if you were still holding on to an FC, Zylice would be in the lead right now. Just unfortunately, that score difference is going to end up mattering a whole lot more than anything else at this point, and with these repeated misses, repeated AC drops, not really much to say here. This is going to turn from a bad situation into very ugly in the course of the next couple minutes.
Got some nasty aim patterns coming up as well. So if Zylice gets through those, you know, I think we can call this one pretty dead in the water. Nearly drops on that burst, but makes it through.
I think he would have note-locked there if it was actually stable, and I would have missed there, but I mean, even then at that point, it wouldn't matter. There's already a 200k score deficit. Zylice winning this point is a foregone conclusion. This is just whether or not Boshy can cut into this lead at all, and that's going to depend on Zylice missing at this point. After the spinner comes the hardest section of the map. Potential for Zylice to miss after the spinner, as it's a bit of a jarring transition into the next intense section, but that's pretty much the only chance he has to miss in the next 200 combo, I'd say. And he hits it fine, so.
this is probably one of the toughest parts of the map here. See Boshy again finding misses here, there, a little bit of everywhere. The longer Zylice goes, the longer he holds, the safer he will be, as 300k has just hit the scoreboard and continues to rip apart.
This is starting to get a bit disgusting, if I'm going to be entirely honest. Zylice, you're aware you can miss, right? Like you can miss. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you cooperating with me.
Boshy very much appreciates it, because this was looking unassailable.
It still kind of is, I'm not gonna lie. Because even with that miss, he's still comboing a lot more than Boshy is in this section, and that accuracy lead is helping a hell of a lot more than anything else at this point. Almost a 5% accuracy difference. He's hitting quite a bit of this ending, just having no issues whatsoever, outside of a couple misses here and there. But he hits the vast majority of it, gets a 600 PP play on that, 4 miss from him. And just like that 400k score lead, this is borderline impossible for Boshy to come back at this point.
Now, theoretically, it is possible.
There is a universe. There is one of a million universes where
only one.
There is one universe where that is, you know, the Marvel thing. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's one universe where it's possible. And unfortunately, I don't think we're living in that universe, if I'm gonna be entirely honest. Boshy has just a few picks remaining. Definitely not going to be going into the DT2. Can't go into the Hard Rock 2, which is, I think, his best chance of really making up a score deficit like this. And I really don't know what he would want to go for here, to be quite honest.
Well, he's got open to him the Hard Rock 1, which is more awkward aim. So I think we can kind of put that one to bed. You've got Hard Rock 3, which is the Flow Tech, which is probably his best chance.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think this is probably realistically his best chance. Hard Rock 1, you're definitely not going to want to pick into. Zylice has just kind of been owning you on the aim. Granted, both the aim picks have had streams and stamina in them, and that one doesn't, but I don't think you're going to want to risk that anyway with how Boshy's been looking on aim. Hidden 3 is just, both these players are good at that type of map. I don't think 300k is going to be doable from that at all, and DT3, same thing, I think. Both these players are pretty good at that type of map, especially Zylice in particular, I think has a slight upper hand on that. So this is pretty much the only reasonable pick for Boshy at this point, and he's just going to have to pray to God that Zylice messes up tremendously at this point, since he needs to get 500k or around that in order for Boshy to even have a chance here. And that's assuming he FCs, which is in and of itself pretty hard on this map.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do. But this is a must-win situation for Boshy, and he must win big. 381k he has got to make up. He has got to be flawless throughout this run to even have a chance. At the end of the day, it's not up to him, it's up to Zylice. Zylice has got to really misperform on this map. If he hits like 500k...
If he hits 500k, it's over. There's not really anything you can do. Boshy at that point would have to FC, and he'd already missed, so... As soon as Zylice hits that 500k mark, this is just over. Not anything you can do. Right now, Boshy does have the saving grace of the accuracy advantage, but it's not nearly a huge lead for him. It's about 1%. And that combo would have helped quite a bit, but at the moment, both of these players are essentially identical in that regard.
And again, Boshy really needed that combo. Bolster the score. Just moving too similarly, and in actual fact, it's Boshy who's dropped the combo now when he needed to hold on to it, but Zylice holds into the slower section of the map, gets some free combo, takes the actual score lead now. a hard rock pick. Nearly 1% inaccuracy behind.
Boshy Bros. Yeah, I think it's over. That's the unfortunate part about having the set format. If you are behind this much in a set, God bless you. There's not really much you can do. It would be a nice morale boost to Boshy if he could get this point at the very least, but winning the set is out of the question at this point. Zylice will be progressing into the round of 16 weekend, facing off against TTV_UFO, the Hawaiian, the representation from the United States of Hawaii. I think one top player that lives there at the moment.
The one and only. But with that, with pretty much an identical combo, we run down the final few seconds of the map. And if you weren't sure, Zylice has pretty much put all doubters to bed. It is going to be Zylice who prevails in straight sets to knock BoshyMan out. There is no second chance bracket for Boshy. It is single elimination for the first 2 rounds of LGA, as it was last year, and as it is again. It is Zylice, the grand finalist, who comes out on top. And is there really many surprises? Not on his history alone.
Yeah, based on his history, not really. I think Boshy would have a really rough go no matter what happened on this. I think they've faced quite a few times in 1v1s, and I think Zylice has almost always came out on top. Just unfortunate for BoshyMan to have this as a very early round matchup. We'll be saying goodbye to him from the tournament, which is hard to say on a tournament as stacked as this, but that's just the reality of the format that Lazer Grand Arena has. Zylice, once again, will be facing off against TTV UFO. That will be the last match of Sunday, actually, at 21 UTC, just an hour before the next week's showcase is about to begin, which next week we'll have a proper losers bracket and everything, starting from quarterfinals onward. So, definitely a bit more interesting for the players that get to that point, I believe. Outside of that, though, have a match going on the UsLive_2 channel. That is Riot versus Fedora Goose. Fedora Goose, at the moment, up 1 set, 2-1 in favor of him, which is quite interesting. We haven't really seen many players. It's almost always been 3-0 or 3-1 in terms of score lines. So if we can get a 2-2 and see the original for this week, that'd be very nice. And I'm hoping that might be the match to do that, so definitely tune in on that one. Outside of that, though, Taquito and Rykick going to be the next one on this stream. Will be happening in about 20-ish minutes. Taquito, I think everyone is familiar with him at this point. No real introduction needed. Rykick, an OWC up-and-comer, potentially. Look out for him on the USA tryouts. But, yeah, that does it for us. Anything else you want to say, Demarsh?
No, I think we've wrapped that up nicely in a bow. Don't go anywhere. The evening session carries on with or without us, but we hope you will join us. But until then, see you soon.
Kiss お舐め合うと苦しい自由違う